Welcome everyone to an APH virtual Excel camp. This week is junior high school and we are going around the world. We are so glad to have you with us today. Feel free to drop in the chat who you are and where you're from. We're so glad to have you with us today. We see you coming in to join us. Letting you know you are here for the APH Virtual Excel Camp for junior high school, and we are going around the world. Now, if you were with us yesterday, you know we are having a special guest, so hang on, let's find out a little bit. Welcome, welcome. Our instructors today are Heather Pichette-Spencer, a teacher of the visually impaired. Hello, Heather. I can't hear you. Try it one more time, Heather.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to camp.
There we go. And our other instructor is Jennifer Stelmach. Hello, Jen.
Hey, everyone.
We're glad to have you. And as you can see on your video, they are together. Woohoo! We're getting close to school for lots of people. And our student intern, Susie Drake, a student from Missouri State. Hi, Susie. How are you?
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here today.
And now I am going to stop sharing and turn it over to your instructors to find out, who is our special guest and why do we even have a special guest? Over to you guys.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to our Access in Other Countries lesson. Today, we're going to talk about traveling with ease and how we work in other countries. We have a special guest with us. Miss Shaquice is here. She is living currently in the north of Spain. She graduated from Ed White High School here in Florida in 2015 and then from Florida State University in 2019. Her degree was from FSU was in political science, and after that she took a position in Spain to work as a language assistant. So let's find out a little bit more about accessing in Spain from Shaquice. All right, Shaquice, go ahead.
Hi.
All right, do you want to just tell us a little bit about your time in Spain?
Yes. So, hola todos. Bienvenido a Spain. Again, yes, my name is Shaquice Floyd. I've been living in Spain now for a year. I am a language assistant. So basically, I work with professors to teach children, kids probably your age, middle school, high school, and adults English and improve their English for university or their future career goals. What else? Since I've been in Spain for a year, I've visited 3 different countries. I've been to Morocco, obviously Spain, and I just went to Paris, France, like 2 weeks ago. But it was safe because everyone was wearing masks, and I've been in quarantine for 2 weeks, so I'm good. So, but yeah.
So Shaquice, have you had challenges being visually impaired while being in Spain or in some of the other countries you've traveled to while you were over there?
Yes and no. So when I first came to Spain, I definitely was interested in connecting with people who also were visually impaired or blind and talking to my coworkers, the professors. They actually do have materials and resources similar to the ones in the States. So they also have students in the classroom who are visually impaired or blind. And they have, what is it called? I forgot the name. The large printer we use to like make the papers larger. What is that called? I'm forgetting the name, but yes.
We have a copy machine here. I'm not
copy
sure.
machine. Okay, so yeah, they have the same type of resources. If they ever needed to give me something like, hey, can you read this to the class? I was like, yeah, I needed like 16:18 print, and they'll just go to the copy machine, get it enlarged. Simple as that. So the resources are definitely there. It was just about connecting with my coworkers, letting them know what my vision was and how they could be assistants. As far as that, no. Definitely when I'm traveling though, I make it apparent to when I'm going on a plane or a train, I let someone who's working there know like, hey, I'm visually impaired. Could you assist me finding my seat or just assist me when it's time for me to get off? Because maybe I can't see the signs when we're passing by each train station.
Awesome. So what is your vision impairment? Can you kind of describe what you can see and what you miss? And
Yes. So I was born with congenital glaucoma, so I always been blind in my right eye. I have limited vision in my left. In 2017, my retina was detaching in my left eye, so I had to get a surgery for that. And because I got a surgery for that, it had like a domino effect because I started developing cataracts and my eye pressure was rising up. So then I had to get another surgery for the eye pressure and another surgery to replace the cataract. So my vision is back better now, but it's not as the same as it was. I would describe my vision is good. Like I'm pretty good seeing close up, but far away is a lot more difficult for me.
in school and stuff, what accommodations did you learn and use mostly before going to school? Or like before traveling, like back
Before
when you were
traveling?
here in the States? What was your most used stuff that?
Definitely using my CCTV. Actually, I can run and get it real quick. I'm sorry. So before I came to Spain, I knew I was going to want to read a lot of need to read documents, especially when I'm filling out my residence form and things like that. So I actually was able to contact DBS in Tallahassee, and they were able to purchase this for me. I don't know if anyone can see it. Can you see that? So it's just like I guess I would say like a basic mini CCTV where I can just put it on any documents or books and be able to read it. For me, that's like the most thing I've been using before and coming here.
When you're traveling, what accommodations do you, other than advocating and asking for assistance, do you have a cane? Do you travel with a partner? Like, what do you use when traveling?
Honestly, for me, I don't need one. I would recommend if you do need a cane or a partner, definitely ask for one for sure. Because going to different countries like Morocco, I went with a group of friends. So I did use the assistance. Like I was utilizing them as like sighted guide and like basically helping me get to places when we were traveling at night, only because the buildings and like the way things are in different countries is way different from the United States. So for example, you could be walking down the street and all of a sudden there's stairs out of nowhere, or like just the foundation of things in different countries are a lot different because they were built, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So definitely if I'm traveling somewhere like Morocco, if I'm traveling with the group, definitely just letting like, hey, you guys, can I use you guys like as sighted guide? Could you guys help me get here and there? And that's definitely been helpful. But other than that, I don't use a cane.
Could you tell us a little bit about the process for going overseas, like the paperwork and all the stuff you had to get in place before you were able to leave to get going?
So yes, the things you definitely need is, well, specifically for the program or just the visa process in general?
Either.
Okay, so I'm going to say the visa process if you're a student and or working. Because I'm technically a student and working under this program, I had to apply for a student visa. And basically the main things you need is like the letter from your school or the work program that is overseas. So the letter, proof and insurance. And usually if you're working through a program like this, they're going to provide the insurance for you. You need to get your Florida FBI, your Florida Bureau of Investigation background check, just making sure you don't have any felonies, anything that will prevent you to legally go overseas. You need a medical certificate saying you don't have any contagious diseases or things like that. And what else? I believe that was it. So medical certificate, background check, your letter, your insurance, and then you need to fill out 2 applications saying like, why are you going? What is going to be the address? Basic information like that. You have to then, because I'm in Florida, if you're in Florida, Georgia, and I believe South Carolina, the Miami like visa council is in Miami. So I had to go to Miami in person, give them the paperwork, they stamped it, and it's like, okay, you'll get your visa in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And I was able to get my visa like that. But also in order to get your visa, you need to have your passport. That's another thing. I didn't have my passport, so I had to obviously get my passport first, did all the paperwork, and then go down there with everything and give it to them. And then they mail it back to you with your visa and your passport.
Someone asked, do you have to have specific vaccinations for the countries you have traveled to?
No, but I think with this coronavirus, I maybe change it. No, you just need it, honestly, with your visa, just the medical, when you apply for your visa, and you need all those things, and your visa is going to basically confirm, like, okay, she went through all the correct processes, so obviously she's good, she doesn't have any contagious things. But the countries I've been to, no.
Did you have to fill out specific paperwork now that you are there and traveling between the different countries?
No, just need my passport and my residence card. And when I got here, I applied for my residence card in Spain.
Awesome. So what is your plan? So you worked a year at one school in Spain, and are you moving to go to a different school, or what is the plan from here?
Yes, so I actually am. I had to apply again in March, and I got accepted to move to a different region and go to a different school in May. So yes, in October, well, actually in a couple of weeks, I'm moving and I'm gonna be in a different region. I'm gonna be in Madrid, so I'm super excited.
Awesome. And we had a question. Susan wanted to know if you have to have any specific vaccinations. Oh, I'm sorry, you already asked that. I was typing.
Let's see. Did anyone else have any questions for Shaquice?
Oh, Ava wants to know the first thing that happened to you when you arrived in Spain.
The first thing that happened to me, my teacher, one of the teachers I was working with, she invited me to her house to have paella and like wine and talk, and she got to know me. So that was the first thing that happened, which was awesome because she picked me up from the train station, like helped me bring me to my apartment, and then we went out and had paella and drank wine and got to know each other.
Paella, yum. Can you tell us what paella is? Because I bet a lot of our students don't know what it is.
Yeah, so paella is a very typical dish here in Spain. It's basically it depends on who makes it or how they make it, but you can have paella with carne, paella with pollo, paella with mascados, which is basically just, how can I say, it's rice with like chicken, meat, or shrimp and vegetables. And it's really, really good.
Delicious, yeah.
What has been your favorite place you've gotten to travel since being in Spain?
I would honestly, I would have to say Paris was nice. Like Paris, like seeing the Eiffel Tower in person, I was like, oh my God, this is so real. Maybe Madrid. I think Madrid because it was so much to do, and it was just a lot of different cultures, a lot of different restaurants, a ton of people. And I went to Madrid actually for a week right before the whole pandemic happened. So I went in February. And then, no, like in March. I went like the first or second week of March, and then I came back to Tudela, and literally the following week, Madrid got shut down because of the virus, which isn't funny, but I was like, oh my God, I was just there. Wow, okay, so yeah. But I would have to say Madrid, only because it was just so lively and a lot of different people, and it was exciting.
Sure, it's great. Yeah. How did you travel from where you are now, your town that you're in, to Madrid, and then also to Paris?
So I took a train from here because the train is like, if I take the fast train, it's 2 hours, and taking a longer train will be like 3 or 4. So I took the train to Madrid, and then I went to the airport, and actually the train station and the airport are like close together. So I took the train to Madrid, then got to the airport and took a plane to Paris, France.
Is traveling cheaper now that you're over there? Because I know, like, coming from overseas, it's very expensive to get there.
No, it is so cheap. Oh my God. My round trip to Paris, France was literally 75 euros. I was like, yes. So no, when you're in Europe, it is so cheap to travel. Like, yes.
What, in comparison, 75 euros, what would that be in American money?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm sorry. Because it's like the euro cost is like $1 something more. So maybe close to like, I don't know, 100 maybe, more or less.
So about $100 to travel between.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more. All right, guys. Did anyone have any more questions for Shaquice? What's been your favorite food there? Alyssa wanted to know.
My favorite food. What is my favorite food? Tortilla de patata, which is basically like a egg omelet. They put like ham and vegetables and like onions, peppers, and stuff in it, and it's really good. It's another very typical popular dish here.
All right.
Sorry about that. That was a double mic.
Sorry, guys, we're having some technical difficulties here. All right, guys, any more questions? Has anyone been to Spain from our chat, from our participants? So has anyone met anyone else who's been to Spain? No.
Kids, does anybody have an interest in going to another country after college, like Shaquice did, to work, or maybe during college for overseas study?
Okay, hold on. Heather and Jen, you can only use one computer to talk. So we're getting huge echoes because we're getting to it.
The echo was we both had microphones on. We messed up for a minute.
Can you say that question one more time?
So did anyone have, does everyone know where Spain is in general location wise? Yes. Grace is good at answering today. France. It is not France. Paris is areas of France. France is just above Spain. Spain is kind of like a peninsula off of France to the south. Alyssa wants to go there.
And it's separated by a mountain range called the Pyrenees Mountains. That's what separates France and Spain.
Someone wanted to know, what do you teach, Shaquice?
So I teach English. During the day, I do a lot of lessons with middle school and high school students, and then I do tutoring on the side. So I tutor also children and adults who want to either learn English or improve their English.
Can your students see, or do you work with kids with disabilities or vision impairments?
Honestly, no, I don't. Yeah, all my students can see.
How bad has the quarantine been there?
Well, in the beginning, like March, it was very strict, very, very strict. Like we couldn't walk, even in my small village, like we couldn't walk outside without like officers like, hey, like, where are you going? What are you doing? It's like, I'm going to the store. And other regions, it was a lot worse. Other regions had a curfew, but they were very, very, very strict in the beginning. Now things are almost back to normal, to be honest. People are not really wearing masks anymore, what makes me nervous. But in certain areas, it's almost back to normal, where other areas are still a lot strict, like Madrid, Barcelona, Sevilla. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see if another question comes up.
So, Shaquice, this is Susie, and
Yes.
I was curious what advice you would give to someone who's blind or has a visual impairment who is going to travel in Europe.
Okay, awesome. That's a good question. My first advice would be know your vision. And I say because even Ms. Jen can attest to this. I was very stubborn in high school. Like my teacher's like, oh, Shaquice, you should use this. You should use that. I'm like, no, I don't need that. Only because it's just like, I didn't want to be attached to like that stereotype of being the blind girl. Even when I got my surgery in 2017 and people were like, maybe you should use a cane, even if it's temporary. I'm just like, no, I don't need it. And then I needed it. So I sucked it up and used it. So what I say to that is just know your vision. If you know that your vision is worser at night and you need to use a cane, just use a cane. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. If your vision is worse in the morning and you need assistance, definitely try to convince a friend or family member to come with you, just again, because your safety is like your number one priority. So just definitely knowing your vision, knowing your limits, and just understanding that. Also not being afraid to travel because of your vision. If you have worse or better vision at the morning or night, don't let that stop you from accomplishing your goals, such as traveling overseas. Because even with the little vision I have, and even though I'm very independent with it, I was nervous because I was just like, what if I can't see this and that? And it's a whole nother world. And I've never been to a different country. But I was like, you know what? Let me use the resources I have, advocate for myself, and it's going to be okay. And another big important thing I would say is definitely if you're going by yourself, have a family, trusted friend or someone as kind of like your accountability partner. So what I mean by that is when I went to Paris, France, I text my friend while I was in the airport, like, hey, I'm getting on the plane in like 30 minutes. When I get off and get in my cab, I'm going to text or call you. Then I call my friend when I get in the cab. And then I call my friend when I got to my hotel. So just having someone, if you can, on a daily basis, who know where your whereabouts are, just in case something happens. Because unfortunately, if you're visually impaired or blind, you have to be a lot more careful and just cautious of your surroundings.
How does your phone work over there? Did you have to get a new phone? Do you just use Wi-Fi?
I use Wi-Fi, and I have this portable Wi-Fi thing that I connect with my phone, whatever.
And then did the school start back over there yet?
No, we start in October.
Y'all are on a different schedule than here.
Yes.
If you can't see very well, are people in the community helpful, like in the store clerks and that kind of thing?
Yes, they are very, very, very helpful. Restaurants, store clerks, even going to the post office, even when I went to the police office, because I have to go to the police office to register and get my residence card, like they're very, very helpful.
Awesome.
And there's I've actually noticed that there is a community of like blind people kind of everywhere I go. Even in this small town, I was tutoring this lady's her children, and we were having a conversation. She's like, oh yeah, I have to wake up Saturday morning because there's this older blind man who wants to go running. She's like, I assist him with that. I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. Like, I'm visually impaired. And she told me her experience of like how she volunteers and helps people who are blind and visually impaired to do things like that. Like, he likes to run and be active, but he doesn't have any vision. So they have ways of like, she gets up in the morning, goes with them, helps them run. And I was like, that is amazing. There's also this lawyer here I met that she's also a professor, and she's a reader. So you know how like when you're in college and if you can't see but you need someone to read like the test for you, she does that. So she's one of those people, she'll stay and monitor and like read the questions for the person, things like that. When I went to Best Friends, I seen someone who was completely blind walking with another person who had a cane, and I was just like, oh my God, like we're everywhere. That's awesome. So yeah.
Grace asked, do you use voiceover or other technologies?
No, I don't use voiceover.
What do you have to adapt your phone or anything like that?
No, I just put my phone on dark mode. If anyone knows what that means, that definitely helps like my light sensitivity to it. But other than that, no. And then I use Zoom, like I zoom in and out of my phone.
Your font's like an inch tall, I know.
Yeah.
How do you get out? Shaquice, how do you get around in the town that you're in now when you want to just travel? Do you take a bus or is there a train for in-town travel?
So inside the town, I take the bus. But if I'm trying to go to somewhere like Zaragoza, Pamplona, like I said, Madrid, I take the train because it's comfortable and it's faster. So
is the bus, are you able to see the bus number to get on the correct bus at the bus stop?
Yes. Yes, I am. But even with that, I still just ask the bus driver just to make sure, because sometimes things get switched up and I'm like, okay, this says it's going to Madrid, but is it making, like, it could be multiple buses going to the same place, but they're making different stops and going around different places. So I may see that it says Madrid, but I'm like, okay, let me just ask the bus driver just in case.
Do you use a monocular or any tools to help you to see?
No.
For travel? Okay.
No, confused. All right, guys. Do we have any other questions?
What are you guys curious about? It's another country. This is a great chance to ask an American from another country, like all of these different things that she's experiencing. Oh, can you tell us about when things are open and closed? Because I know in Europe, sometimes hours and times and days.
Yes. Oh my God. When I came and found it, I was like, I don't like this, but I'm used to it now. So yes, in most European countries, things open so they'll open maybe like 9:30, but then they'll close around 12 or 1, so they leave work and to go have lunch with their families, and they don't open back up to maybe 4 or 5, which is very, very interesting. And a lot of things are closed on Sundays, like stores, post up, everything is, even some restaurants are closed on Sunday. So if you want to do some shopping, you should do it Monday through Saturday, which is very interesting.
So how did you make friends when you moved there? How did you meet people to hang out with? And
social media was like the best way. Don't really have friends here, only because I'm in a very small village. Like there's 34,000 people who live here. So it's a very old town with a lot of older people. So there's literally no one my age here. There's like children and like people with families, and that's it. Because people my age usually go to Zaragoza, Pamplona, or Madrid or Barcelona for college. So here it's just like one of those very old towns where like if you're young, you're probably not here. So that's why I travel to other places, especially Madrid, because there's so many people from all over the world who are my age, who speak English and Spanish. So yeah.
So you got quite a few questions here. How long was the plane ride over to Spain?
Oh, good question. So I did this a smart way. I went from Miami straight to Madrid, and it was 9 hours nonstop.
Were you anxious about speaking the language in public ever?
Yes, all the time. I'm even anxious doing it now because I'm like, even though I've been here a year, my Spanish has improved a lot, but it still gets like kind of intimidating because it's like I don't want to sound so American. And then people are like, "Oh, I like your American accent." I was like, I have an accent. So no, yes, definitely.
How do you interact with the locals in your town and country?
Just saying like, "Hola, buenos dias, ¿cómo estás?" If someone offers you to come out to have a coffee or wine or cerveza, which is beer, like things like that, just like, yeah, thank you, things like that.
Shamel asks, do you feel not using a cane or voiceover limits you in any ways? Canes can also be used for identification, even if you don't need it visually necessarily.
You're absolutely right. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure. I think more so if I go into Madrid and travel more, I probably may get a cane and use it because, like I said, the structure of different countries is a lot different. Like you can be walking 1 minute on a clear street or sidewalk, and then the next minute there's stairs. So you're definitely right. But it definitely hasn't limited me.
All right. Someone said they missed the first few minutes. Why did you move to Spain, and where did you move from?
So I moved from Florida to Spain, well, specifically Orlando, Florida to Spain. And I came to Spain because I've always been interested in Spanish and Spanish culture since I was in middle school. And it was a great opportunity to go to a different country, learn a language, travel to other countries. So yeah.
Because your vision teacher told you to?
Yes, that too. Yes, yes.
What's the weather like there?
It's extreme. In the summer, it is hot, like not Florida hot, because where I'm at in Madrid center, there's not surrounded by any of the water or beaches, so it's a dry heat. It's horrible. Like people in Spain describe it as just like no. And then in the winter, it's really, really, really cold. So I'm just like, yeah, it's different.
Does it snow there?
It depends on what part. In Victoria, which is about maybe 3 hours from me. Yeah, 3 hours from me. Where the mountains are, yes, but where I'm at now.
Do you want to go to any other country?
Oh yes, I want to go to Portugal, Germany, Italy, Czech Republic, Hungary. Like, yeah, there's a ton of countries I still want to go to.
All right. How were the holiday celebrations different there?
That's a good question. I feel like they're celebrated similarly, and to a certain extent. They have a lot more holidays here, though. They have a lot more holidays. When I was working the first year, there were so many days I had off. I was like, wow, am I really working? Because we will have like days and weeks off. Like we have like 2 or 3 weeks off for what they call something semana, which is kind of similar to what you guys have. We have back in the States as Easter. They have different festivals for different religious people they look up to. So it's a lot of different holidays. They don't celebrate Thanksgiving. Some places celebrate Halloween, and they definitely celebrate Christmas and New Year's. The way they celebrate New Year's though is they have this tradition that they eat 12 grapes. Like right when the clock ticks 12, they eat 12 grapes, and that's like a tradition.
Could you go to another country with the program that you're working for?
This specific program, no, but they have programs really similar to it. Like if you wanted to go to France, go to Germany, things like that. They just still have English program. Well, actually, I think so, because you can teach English. No, for this program specifically, no, it's Spain. But there are other programs like it. If you want to go to France, Germany, things like that, they are there.
One of the kids said that they're going to do that on New Year's as their new tradition.
Yeah, eat 12 grapes.
Di asked if you use apps like Duolingo or Rosetta Stone to learn the language.
Yes, I started using, it wasn't Duolingo. What was it? Oh my God. I think it was Duolingo. I first started using Duolingo before I got here. And then when I got here, I just started speaking more with native speakers because it's a lot easier and more funner to practice with someone who's native to the language.
How did you get involved with this program and how did you hear about it?
So actually, one of my friends, our senior year, she was actually applying for it. And I was like, hey, like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I'm going to go to the library and like finish my application for this program. I was like, oh my God, that sounds so interesting. And she's like, yeah, I can send you the link. So she sent me the link, helped me with it. And yeah.
Is Google Translate helpful, or is there an app that is the most visually accessible and accessible?
I would definitely say, yeah, Google Translate would probably be the best one, definitely.
So before you moved to another country, how far in advance did you start planning your move?
So this was like, to be honest, it was a last minute thing. So I had originally moved to, or after I graduated, I originally moved to Orlando for another job opportunity that honestly did not work out, but it didn't work out for good reasons. And I was like, oh, am I gonna just stay in Orlando and like do some part-time things? Because my contract was only for a year anyway. I was like, should I just go ahead and go to Spain? So within 2 weeks of like me getting my visa and everything, I was like, okay, I packed up and I left. So it was a very last minute thing.
That's really fast. Somebody asked, what's the name of the program that you're working for?
So it's called North American Language Assistance.
Okay, I'm gonna put that in the chat so we can read it.
Yes.
And then did you bring things like furniture, or what did you bring with you?
So honestly, I brought one like very large suitcase of obviously clothes, shoes, like my favorite. So even though it was 2 weeks, I was getting this all done. I did a lot of research of like things to bring, things not to bring. And if you're coming overseas to live for like 6 months to a year, like no furniture, you'll be able to find rooms and apartments that's already furnished, because they have a lot of international students and workers coming in and out. So definitely don't have to worry about bringing like furniture or sheets or blankets like that. Just bring clothes, some of your favorite products, because a lot of things they don't have here. I made sure to bring adapters, so like the European adapters for my phone, portable chargers.
Can you talk about the adapters for a second?
Yeah, so 1 second. I have another adapter here. So I don't know, can you guys see?
A little bit. You may have to describe it.
Yeah, you can just describe it.
Okay, so basically it's just like a regular, like how you have your regular charger for like your iPhone or Android. The only difference is it's more round, like more like a pin than it is like, I don't even know how to say that.
So where the 2 prongs that go into the wall that are flat on your regular chargers, they're more rounded pins that go into the walls over in Europe.
Exactly. So yeah, definitely if you're coming anywhere in Europe, because they use the same European adapters, but yeah, be sure to bring adapters like this. I obviously ordered on Amazon. They came in within 2 days and they were really cheap. I got like 6 of these for like $2. So I was like, yes. So doing that, bringing extra chargers, portable charger, headphones, like things like that.
So anything that you would need to plug into a wall, you would have to have that adapter for.
Basically, yeah.
How long have you been there, and how long will you be there?
So I've been here now. So in September, it's going to be a whole year since I've been here. And I'm going to be here for another year. So
nice. What about things like public restrooms and stuff? If you have to use the restroom, is it different there? The way
it's literally the same. Certain places you go, they're a lot more, what's the word, like updated, like in the United States. So you go in, like you don't have to flush your toilet, it automatically flushes. You don't have to like turn the sink on, just put your hands there. So yeah, it's pretty much the same.
So do we have more questions, guys? All right, well, thank you, Shaquice. We have some other information. Oh no, we do have one more, I'm sorry. Where will you go after you finish your next year in Spain?
That's a good question. It honestly depends on how things go. I'm thinking of definitely about coming back to the United States, but again, it's just kind of seeing how things go with, like, you know, the virus and the state of everything. So
have you been back since you left?
No, I haven't. I was supposed to this summer, but you know, yeah, so
COVID.
COVID, everything is COVID's fault. So
have you had any family or friends that have been able to come and visit you?
No.
Okay.
All right, well, we can thank Shaquice. So another one, how much does the program cost, or is it by scholarship?
So yeah, it's by a stipend each month. So it depends on what region you are. The region I'm in now is 700 euros a month. But again, like your cost of living here is very, very, very cheap. Like I pay 230 euros just in rent. And then I also tutor on the side. And then if you go to regions like Madrid, you're going to get paid 1,000 euros a month.
Do you have any friends or family that live in Spain with you? Are you there by yourself?
I'm by myself. I did have a friend, my friend that we applied together, she was here, but she left literally right before the lockdown happened. So yeah, she's back in Miami now.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Shaquice.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you.
Participants don't get off, though we do have more information. We've got some stuff on traveling and tips for traveling and that kind of stuff. So just hold on one second. We can get that shared. Shaquice, you're welcome to stay on, or you don't have to. Either way is fine.
It's okay, I'll stay.
What time is it there in Spain?
It's like 8 o'clock now, is it? Yeah, it's 8:37.
Evening for you. Okay, back to
Yes,
you, Jen.
evening.
All right. Oh, no problem. All right, guys. So let's see. So we're just going to talk a little bit about access when in other countries. So here we have a list of all the countries that have adopted UEB Braille. So if you are traveling to any of the listed countries, you would be able to read their Braille. These countries are Australia, Botswana, Canada, Fiji, Ghana, India, Ireland, Kiribati, Malaysia, Myanmar. I don't know how to say it.
Namibia, Nepal,
New Zealand, Nigeria, Papua New Guinea, the Philippines, Singapore, South Africa, South Korea, Tonga, the United Kingdom, the United States,
Vanuatu.
Vietnam, and Zimbabwe.
I need your consent on a few items to continue.
So any of those countries, if you were a Braille reader, you would be able to read the language, which would be, or you'd be able to read the Braille at least. All right, so white canes around the world. On October 15th, I know we celebrate it here in the US, so some of you guys may be familiar with it. It is International White Cane Day, and it has now been made international, which is awesome because it's bringing awareness to the white cane and blindness throughout the world now instead of just through our country. So that's just something that you guys can keep in mind. All right.
White Cane Day is October 15th, International White Cane Day.
Yes. All right, so when you're preparing to travel abroad, there's a bunch of information, and we're gonna email out this PowerPoint later because on the last slide, there's a bunch of links to a lot of information that's available, but we're just gonna go over some of it right now. One of the big things to do is to disclose your disability, to request accommodations in advance if it's possible. So you can actually call the airlines and let them know that you're coming and that you may need help with this. You can also set up cabs ahead of time if you know that you need to get from the airport to your hotel, that kind of thing. Anything you can do proactively and early is going to be better. And you can arrange a time for an orientation training in your new location, especially if you can research and look up any organizations that might be able to help you once you're in your country. Research the public transportations and what methods of transportation there are in the country that you're going to, because how we talked about yesterday, travel is a little bit different in every country that you're going to be traveling to. So making sure that you know what is the best means of transportation and what is the safest way and the most cost effective and how you would be the most accommodated. Research the required documents and vaccinations for your service animal. If you have a guide dog with you, there are lots of rules and regulations regarding how an animal can go into the different countries and what they need to be able to go. And so you just want to make sure you have all your paperwork in order and know what exactly you need to have ready.
Yes, and even guide dogs are not allowed in every country. It depends on the country. They all have their own rules as far as animals.
And then you could consider also as an alternative, you could consider using an assistant, and not everyone's gonna be, this isn't gonna be an option for everybody, but it is one other thing. You can hire guides in some countries, and they don't even have to be specifically for a vision impaired person. You can just hire a tour guide or hire a driver that could help you throughout the week from getting place to place, or for if you're just traveling for a short period, making sure that you know exactly where you are, and someone that could be trustworthy while you're there. So that's just for preparing ahead of time. What to bring, taking your cane. Even if you plan to use your guide dog or a human guide and you don't usually use a cane, it can be very helpful for letting others know that you're vision impaired. This was a suggestion that was from one of the blogs I was reading. She was a vision impaired traveler. She didn't always use a cane in the United States, but she said it was a really good identifier when she was overseas to help people realize that she had a vision issue, and so they could help her, or at least not be confused if she couldn't see something. Take a laptop or other device with your screen reader and assistive technology, and make sure you have the proper plug adapters, the converters, and then find out if there are power outages regularly. Because if you're dependent on your device and you travel to a section of the country that they have power outages, you may not be able to charge your devices. So knowing that kind of information is important. And then this is suggesting the assistant one more time. If you have even a best friend, mainly it's a lot of times it's a safety thing. Just traveling with a group of people is much safer than traveling on your own. Tips once you are abroad. Ask questions. Ask as many questions as possible, because then you will. People are happy to answer most of the time. They're happy to help you. Prepare to educate strangers about how to help you, because people may not have helped someone who's vision impaired, especially if you have a taxi driver or something. They may try and grab your arm and help you in the cab, whereas you just need them to grab your bag, or you just need them to give you a verbal direction of what's going on. So you'll just need to be a strong advocate when you're traveling to these places and know what's best for you. Connect with locals who are blind or low vision, and this is an opportunity to discover commonalities and differences. Learn the currency, so you'll want to know what you're looking for their currency before leaving. Carry written directions or written addresses for important locations like your hotel or some specific places you might be going. That way, if you happen to get turned around or lost, you would have something to say, I need to get to this address, and to hand someone to help you. Rules of the road are not always followed the same in every country. It may be different. It may be different in the different countries, so you want to make sure you've looked up exactly how that country drives and what the rules on pedestrians are and which side of the road and that kind of thing, so you're not in a dangerous situation. If you find a taxi driver that you trust once you're overseas, it could be helpful to get their direct contact information. That way you are able to travel. You can use someone that you trust throughout the week while traveling, or the week or time, or however long you're there. Did anyone have any questions about any of that?
Do y'all know what she means by currency? Currency is money, so the kind of money that they use. Okay, yeah. It's not the term we use all the time. But yeah, so in the US we have dollars, and in Spain, what do they call it in Spain?
Euros.
The euros, right. So they have the euros. When I went there, they didn't have the euro. That's how old I am.
So, Shaquice, this is Susie again.
Hi.
Was it hard? Is it hard to get used to using a different currency?
Yes, because you know how the United States, we don't really like pay attention to the coins, like nickels, dimes, quarters. But here you have to pay attention because the coins have like, it can be €1 or €2. So like the bigger ones is a €2 and the smaller one close to that one is €1. So I'm like, oh, I can't just throw this, to the side. Like, no, that's actually like a euro or two. So yeah, it was definitely different.
Yeah, so €1 is actually like over $1, basically.
Yeah.
That's like our dollar. So you're throwing away $2, 2 pennies or something, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions, guys, on any of that, traveling wise? All right, so we do have a resource thing. Oh, another question. What happened when you made a Spanish grammar mistake?
Oh no, they're not. And when you're speaking with natives, they're not like very hard on you about that. They're just like, no, it's okay, don't be nervous. It's the same way when I tell them I'm from the United States. There's just like, my English is not good. I wish I spoke English. It's all about just speaking and not being afraid to make mistakes. But they're not gonna be like, oh my God, you said estás, that estás. Like they're not like that. They're no. If anything, they're more happy that you're speaking that language, if anything, and they understand like, oh, she's not native, she's from the United States. It's okay.
So when you went to France, was it harder because they were speaking French in your background?
Yeah, I don't speak French, so yeah. I was like, merci, bonjour. Like, no, I was just like, hablas inglés o español? There was like, no, poco. But I was still able to like get around and meet people who did speak either Spanish or English, but no, I don't speak French. So it was a whole different experience. But again, I was in Paris, which is a very central, popular city. So it's like all the restaurants and the shops, they all spoke English because they cater to the tourism. So, and not just from the United States, but from Australia, the UK. So yeah.
How do you meet a lot of people that do speak English around, or?
Yes, and like when I'm in Madrid or other bigger places, yes, but not in my small town.
What's the next place that you're going to visit this year?
It honestly, again, it depends, because going to Paris, France, I only went because they had less cases of coronavirus than Spain, and I was like, oh, I can still go, so I went. I wanted to go to Budapest, but I don't know yet, so I don't know. We'll see. If not, it's going to be Portugal or Italy.
That's not a bad list, Shaquice.
Yeah.
You can go all those places too, yeah.
Or Barcelona. I'm sorry, I've always wanted to go to Barcelona, and I've been here for a year, and I literally live like 3 hours away from Barcelona, so I'm like, I need to go to Barcelona.
Someone said euros are quite tactily distinct. For example, the 2-cent coin has an indent around the edges.
Yes, no, you're absolutely right. You're right.
So they feel different. So even if you
They do
can't
feel different,
tell
yeah.
by size, because you only have one in your hand,
Yeah.
you could feel for those indents around the side. That's good to know.
Is there paper money as well?
Yes, so they have like a 5, 10, 20, 50, and I think 100 euro.
Do those have any kind of tactile indicators on them?
No, they're just, oh, this doesn't help. I was gonna say they're just different colors, but no, not necessarily, no. I think some of them are bigger than others, maybe. I don't have I'll use my card a lot, so I don't have euros with me to figure it out. But yeah.
What colors are they? Do you know?
So there's pink, bluish, a greenish, I believe. I think that's it. But I know there's a pinkish and a bluish one.
Awesome.
They look like Monopoly money. They actually look very cute, but
I think someone said that during our session yesterday when we were talking about it.
yeah,
So,
they look so cute. Like, oh, this is real money.
So when you need to buy things and you want to swipe your card, is it the same as swiping your card here?
Oh no, you tap your card. So you don't have to even swipe it. You just tap it because the little chip it has in it, like, I can show you an example. So this is one I have for here, and I can use it. I actually use it all over Europe. So I use it in France and Spain. Oh, can you guys see me? I'm sorry.
So she's showing a credit card, just a regular credit card.
Yeah, and basically on the back of the card, it's like a little indicator thing, just like anything, but you don't swipe it. You just tap it on the thing, and then you're good.
Okay, so it's a little more advanced than what you have here most places.
Yeah, so I don't have to ever swipe or put the chip in. It's just like tapping it on the.
Oh, you're fine. I know.
All right. What other questions do you guys have about traveling or for Shaquice? Either way. All right. I will show you guys a little bit about what we have in our resources here. We're going to send this out to your emails at a little bit later. But these are all different blogs and articles that were written. They're all about traveling with a vision impairment. So this one was called Traveling Tips for People Who Are Visually Impaired. And if it just gonna load. And this one's from Vision Aware, but it's a whole article on planning a stress-free trip, check for currency rates, some more travel tips, and then it talks about the lady who wrote the article and her mission for traveling.
And so guys, part of the reason you want to check for currency rates is sometimes they charge a fee when you change your money over.
Yeah.
So you got to be aware of
Definitely
that.
So what that means is if you come from America and you have $100, and the euro is 1.2, so it'd be every euro is worth 1.2 American dollars. So you would get less than $100. But then on top of that, to change your currency from American dollars to euros, the place that does it also can charge their own fee to do that. And so there's ways to do it that are a little bit less expensive, and that's probably why people use a lot of credit cards and debit cards, or we all do anyways, but I think you probably get a better rate that way too than trying to actually.
Yeah.
So do a lot of places, Shaquice, accept debit or credit cards even in your small town?
Yes. But when you go to restaurants and bars, it's just more common to pay with not cash, but with the euros. But yeah, they still take it.
Do you tip at restaurants and bars like we do here?
No, you do not tip. Oh my God. I felt so embarrassed and bad. When I first got here, I took a cab from like one little small place to another. And I was trying to tip the cab driver, and he kind of got offended, and I didn't understand why. He's like, no tip, just this. I was like, okay. And my professor explained to me, she's like, yeah, we don't tip people here in Spain. That's not a thing. Some parts of Europe, they see it kind of as an insult in a way, just historically, but there's like, no, they don't. And I was just like, I didn't mean to offend him. He's like, no, it's okay, but no, you don't tip here.
Good to know, yeah.
So, I know that when my credit card, I had to look up before traveling that which card did not have international fees attached to it. So I had one card that I could use when I was in Sweden and Norway, and there was no additional fees to it, but there was one of my cards that if I used it, there was like a $5 fee every time I went overseas.
See, I'm lucky I don't have that, but you're right.
It's definitely something you need to look into before traveling, because you want to make sure, even if you have to get a new credit card or debit card before going, it's worth it so you're not getting $500 in fees for the 100 times you swipe your card.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we only have a couple more minutes. Does anyone have questions? All right, I'm going to show a couple more of these. There was some cool websites. This one was the CDC's website, which was awesome, that our Center for Disease Control gave a bunch of information about traveling with a disability and talking about how every country has its guidelines, especially with medicines. And I know you had a little bit of issue with that, Shaquice, didn't you? Having to get your medicine overseas, your eye drops?
No, because I still have enough eye drops, but I'm actually getting ready to go to a health clinic here, I believe tomorrow or Thursday or Friday, and they're going to help me out. So, and we're figuring things out with that.
Because she had prescriptions for her eyes here, and then she's over there too long, so she has to figure out exactly how to get the right medicine overseas.
Exactly, yes.
Making sure, because even over-the-counter stuff, I remember looked very different when I was there, so I ended up having to ask. I think I just had allergies or a sinus headache or something, and I needed medicine, so I had to be very specific, asking exactly what I needed from the store every time.
Are there Braille labels on the medicines over there too, Shaquice?
Honestly, I don't know. I haven't bought medicine yet. That's a good question. I don't know, honestly.
Okay. That's what I heard, is that there's even Braille labels. They have
there are differences in healthcare when you're in other places. Making sure that you pack smart is something this one goes over. Just if you are traveling and putting the medicine. Yes, the medicine is the same. It's in a different bottle with a different language on it. So making sure that it's not always easy to read the information and make sure you're getting the right thing. And then this says making sure in your carry-on luggage you have the necessities. So making sure that you have all the necessities. So just in case your suitcase was lost or something like that, if you have a medicine that you need to take every day, then you have it with you and you're not panicked because you lost something with the air travel, because that's something that happens. And then considering stuff at your destination, will the hotels allow your service animals? Do you know where your embassy is? So there's lots of good information on the CDC site.
Do y'all know what an embassy is? Okay.
No.
Okay, so an embassy is it's a place, it's basically kind of like being on American soil, but in another country. So one time I was in Australia and my passport was stolen. So I had to go to the American embassy in the city that I was in Australia and ask them for a new passport, and they were able to do that. So it's Americans work there overseas, and it's basically like the American government, but in another country. So countries that we're friendly with, they have embassies. And if something happened to you in another country and you got in some kind of trouble, like legal trouble, the embassy might be able to help you too with that.
Also, adding on to that, that is very important. So when I first came here, the next day I had orientation, and through orientation, the next step was all the American citizens. We went to, we were already immigrants. We went to the embassy. Well, the embassy came to us actually where we were, and they taught us, and we got registered with the embassy. So if you're going to go to a different country for more than like a couple months to a year, it is important to register with the embassy. So if natural disasters like COVID happens, we get updates and emails and let you know, like, hey, are you leaving? Are you still here? Or like, even like, say if there was a hurricane or God forbid, like a terrorist threat or something, just so they'll know everyone's whereabouts who is a U.S. citizen. So that is very, very important to just be registered and know where the embassy is.
Oh, yeah, that's great, Shaquice. Thank you for telling us that. It's like your link back to the United States, but in another country.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
And sorry, and thank you for adding the passport thing too, because that's what they told us. There's like, you know, just so happens we go somewhere else and our passports get stolen, we can come out to them and get a temporary passport for a little bit, and then they can get us a new passport.
Perfect. Yes. All right, guys, we have 2 minutes left. Did anyone else have 1 or 2 more questions for Ms. Shaquice or for us about travel? Awesome, perfect. I'm glad we were able to answer questions today. Thank you so much, Shaquice, for joining us.
No, thank you for having me. And also, Ms. Jen, I'm going to send you the link to the program I'm in as well.
Okay, perfect, we can share that.
Thank you. It was very nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you again for having me. This was fun.
Good luck. Yeah.
Thank you.
So what is tomorrow?
Tomorrow we are talking about food. Oh, go ahead,
Susie, go ahead.
Oh, that was just what I was going to say. Tomorrow is all about food and how to access the best foods to eat all around the country and the world.
So we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'm wishing everyone a great day and enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on what it is where you are, since Shaquice is in the evening hours. Goodbye, all.
Bye.
Bye. See you.
Bye.
Bye.